Hey everyone, welcome back to K-Korner, the channel where we dive into the wild world of entitled people and their unbelievable stories. Hope you enjoy it, and without further ado, let's go. Hi all, first I'd like to just say I didn't think this sort of thing happened where I'm from. I'm from England. But here we are. Today I had a late appointment with the midwife and couldn't seem to get an Uber. I was waiting for almost 20 minutes for a driver. So I decided to get the bus, but nice to know that was a mistake. Getting on the bus was normal, and I sat at the front of the bus in a single seat next to the window, still panicking about being late for my appointment. That was until the next stop where a mother got on with an older kid and younger kid. The older kid got on just fine and went to find a seat, but as the bus started moving, someone tapped my shoulder, and I looked down to see the younger kid. IK, can I sit here? Me, sorry, bud, it's a bit difficult for you to move right now. IK, why? Me, because of my big belly. I point at my stomach. I got a baby. IK, there's a baby hiding in your belly? Me, yes, but he'll be here next month? IK, oh, okay, thanks. He walks over to his mother, who sat in a double seat. I sighed and looked out the window and began to text my friends, then remembered I needed to call the doctors that I was going to be late, pregnancy brain. But as I was pulling up the doctor's number, the mother began to talk to the person behind her loudly about rude and lazy teens and how no one likes to be kind to kids nowadays. Now, I'm not very comfortable with confrontation, however. With all my bundled pregnancy hormones, I've been a lot better at speaking up for myself, so I sighed and turned to her as she glared at me and loudly began. So, are you going to let me sit down yet? Me, there's plenty of seats on the bus. I'm sure he can sit wherever, but I can't exactly move right now, especially whilst the bus is moving. See what I mean? Turns to the poor guy behind her again. Lazy teens. Me, I'm not lazy, just heavily pregnant. You're not pregnant, you just look fat to me. I was in a large hoodie, but even with that, you could tell I had a lovely belly sticking out in an impressive way. Honestly, in some tops I look ridiculous. Me, I'm pregnant. I'm also due next month, so I can't afford any accidents so late into my pregnancy. At this point, EM pointed at me in disgust. Kids your age shouldn't be getting pregnant. That's disgusting. Me, not that you need to know, but I'm 24. How is that disgusting? There's no way you're 24. You're way too small. Stop lying. Yes, I'm pretty short for my age, 5'4", for anyone wanting to know. At this point, I just ignored her and called up the doctor with her complaining loudly in the background. Nothing exciting like her being kicked off the bus or anything. The bus drivers tend to keep to themselves unless a fight breaks out physically. But yeah, I spent years reading about these people but never actually seen them in person, so this was a new one for me. However, the looks isn't something I'm not used to. I get a lot of the older generation glaring at me since I've gotten bigger in my pregnancy. Now I don't think I look young, but my sister tells me I do, and that being paired with my high probably isn't helping my case. Quick edit. I didn't mean all the older generation. Sorry if that came across as rude. I just mean the looks I've been getting are from people quite a bit older than me. I'm sure the rest of you are lovely. Edit 2. For things I've seen a lot in the comments. The bus I was on was a small 23-seater bus that usually has a single seat behind the driver on a slightly raised platform, and as a quiet person who just wanted a nice quiet trip, I kind of wanted the only single seat there. This bus didn't have marked seating for elderly, disabled, pregnant people, but the 3 seats you can flip up for wheelchairs proms. Also, other than me, there was only a poor guy she kept complaining to before EM and her kids got on the bus, so there was plenty of seating for her and her kids. Hey there, fellow ink enthusiasts and curious souls. I just stumbled back home, still buzzing with adrenaline from a wild encounter I had during my tattoo appointment. I'm an avid collector of ink, and today's session was meant to be just another step in completing my full-sleeve masterpiece. The clock was ticking toward the end of my appointment, with just over an hour and a half remaining. Suddenly, the serene atmosphere of the tattoo studio was shattered by the arrival of a disruptive force, Karen, straight out of the wilds of entitlement. She stormed into the studio, demanding immediate attention from my artist. Her reason. She had been inked by him in the past and refused to have anyone else touch her precious skin canvas. Ignoring the fact that my artist had a tight schedule and a subsequent appointment, Karen insisted on being accommodated as a walk-in. I watched in bemusement as my artist calmly explained the situation to her, mentioning his ongoing appointment and the impending one after mine. Karen's fury grew exponentially, and she whipped out her phone to summon her husband into the fray. In a fit of misplaced rage, Karen shoved the phone toward my artist's face, unleashing her husband's irate tirade through the tiny speaker. He bellowed for a good few minutes, oblivious to the fact that scheduling appointments in a tattoo studio isn't as flexible as ordering fast food. Despite the chaos unfolding, my artist maintained his composure, firmly but politely reiterating his unavailability to accommodate Karen's impromptu demands. Eventually, Karen snatched her phone back and retreated into the wilds from whence she came. Now, you might be thinking, well, that's just a typical Karen encounter. But hold on tight because the plot twists were just getting started. As I basked in the aftermath of the Karen storm, thinking the worst was over, the universe decided to throw another curveball my way. A few days later, I received a mysterious package at my doorstep. Intrigued and a tad cautious, I opened it to find a handwritten note scrawled in erratic, angry strokes. It was from Karen. In her unhinged prose, she accused me of conspiring with the tattoo studio to deny her service, claiming that I had some sort of secret alliance with my artist to block her from getting inked. The absurdity of it all left me chuckling, but a sense of unease settled in. Days turned into weeks, and I began noticing peculiar occurrences around my neighborhood. Strange cars parked outside my house, suspicious glances from passersby, and even the occasional anonymous phone call that would disconnect as soon as I answered. I shrugged it off at first, attributing it to paranoia or an overactive imagination fueled by too many late-night horror movies. But then came the night when things took a sinister turn. I was jolted awake by the sound of shattering glass. Heart pounding, I rushed downstairs to find my living room in disarray. Furniture overturned, cherished possessions broken, and scrawled across the wall in crimson paint were chilling words. Ink trader. The realization hit me like a freight train. Karen had escalated from a mere nuisance to a full-fledged threat. Her obsession with getting inked by my artist had spiraled into madness, and I had unwittingly become entangled in her delusions. Fearing for my safety, I contacted the authorities and sought legal protection. A restraining order was swiftly issued against Karen and her family, barring them from coming anywhere near me or my property. As I reflect on this surreal journey, I can't help but marvel at the bizarre twists and turns life can take. What began as a routine tattoo appointment evolved into a harrowing saga of entitlement, obsession, and ultimately survival. So my fellow ink aficionados, let this serve as a cautionary tale. Sometimes the ink we seek can paint more than just art on our skin. It can color our lives with unexpected challenges and lessons learned. Stay safe, stay inked, and never underestimate the wild side of a Karen on a mission. Cheers. My mother has been losing her mind for a while now. She has several internet boyfriends she met on Facebook, all of them famous men, and all of them needing money. She has spent thousands in cash deposits, prepaid Visa gift cards, Bitcoin ATM transfers, bought plane tickets, sent them pictures of her Wells Fargo bank statement. You name a scam, and she has fallen for it? I've seen the messages with my own eyes. She recently called my brother and admitted she was broke and told, not asked, told him he needed to fix it. She received a fake $10 check from one of these people and deposited it into her bank account and started writing her own checks to pay her bills. All of these checks have now bounced. I'm trying to catch them and make them right so she doesn't get fraud charges on top of being broke. Her utilities were turned off this week, so I fixed it. She was so far behind on her mortgage that they were going to serve her with foreclosure paperwork last Friday. My brother paid the amount due to stop that process. She literally has an 100 KE in credit card debt and has been trying to save the money for a bankruptcy attorney. I told her I would front the retainer. This has all happened in only the last 8 days. We're $5 skeep in stopping the bleeding, and who knows what is still coming. We made her sign a power of attorney over to us on Monday as a contingency for our help. She also signed a petition for voluntary conservatorship that will have to go in front of a judge. She swore to us she was done talking to these men. I personally took her phone and deleted the app she uses to talk to them and the hundreds of different numbers they have been using to text her from. Blocked everything I could. She swore again she's cut all contact and would not have anything else to do with them. Last night, she accidentally texted my brother from one of the apps I positively know I deleted. So my brother and I decided she clearly can't be trusted and doesn't need a phone with apps or internet capability. She's like a damn meth head, and we have to blow up the double wide that houses her meth lab. So I bought her a Jitterbug flip phone, the only thing I could get my hands on, and activated it, charged it, and preloaded it with all of the contacts I can think of that she'll need for the next few days. Doctors, friends, both of her children. I took it over to her house, grabbed her iPhone, and put it in my purse, and then pulled out the Jitterbug and told her this was her new phone for right now. She flipped her wig, demanded I give it back to her. I don't have the authority to take it away from her. She needs that phone. Then she freely admitted she's been texting at least one of the men, the leader of the pack. Of course, she re-downloaded those apps. She's in love with him, and the heart wants what it wants. I told her she'll just have to keep wanting. She's not getting her phone back. She moved to lock the door so I couldn't leave. I beat her to it and ran out to my car. Pulled off with her standing in the driveway screaming at me. I stopped at the gas station just down from her house to sit for a second because my hands were shaking. Evidently, this gave her enough time to get past me because she beat me back to my house. My husband led her inside and made my daughter go back upstairs so she wasn't actively watching this go down. I get home and she meets me in my garage. I want my phone back just over and over. I kept telling her no and she needed to leave. She refused to leave without her phone. I said I would call the police. My daughter is here and she's being erratic and she needs to leave. Finally, my husband convinced her we needed to go outside for this conversation so my daughter couldn't hear it. We go out on the front porch and this woman spits straight up venom at me for 15 solid minutes. I'm the greatest disappointment of her life. She wishes I was never born. She should have let my abusive ex-husband beat me to death instead of loaning me the retainer for my divorce attorney in 2017 because that's why she's broke. You name it, she said it. She even threatened to beat me senseless with her cane. I just kept telling her I was sorry she feels that way and I'm not getting it back, so she should leave. She finally said that she's going to make sure she gives my information to all these scammers I'm so worried about, my SIMI address and my address so they can show up at my house and tell me how they really feel. And she's not responsible for whatever happens next. And then she finally left. I came inside and literally sobbed on the bathroom floor. Have been for a couple of hours now. What kind of mother tells their kid she wishes their abusive ex had succeeded in beating them to death? What kind of grandparent threatens to give out the address to the home her grandkid lives in? I have long been suspecting some early onset dementia, and we literally had a neurologist appointment tomorrow after waiting 3 months for it. That's the thread I've been holding on to. This isn't my mother. This is the disease that's been eating her brain. She said she's not going now. I wonder if she'll still show up for the bankruptcy attorney app she has tomorrow that I'm supposed to be fronting. She was absolutely like an unhinged raving addict. Just give it back tonight and I'll give it to you in the morning. She told me she has one of his 176 numbers memorized and will just call him as soon as she gets home. She wasn't bluffing. She did add a new contact with his name, but I deleted it from the parental control app already tonight. She also said she hopes this new phone has long distance because she will stay up all night calling China, so my bill is high. I'm ready to just hand her back the damn phone and tell her to go jump. You won't get another penny from me, so don't call me or mine for another damn thing as long as you live. When these bad checks keep bouncing and they come after you with charges, I don't care. When your utilities get turned off again, sit there in the dark and use your love for this fake-ass internet boyfriend to keep you alive. And when your house goes into foreclosure again, I will wave at you and your little shopping cart full of crap when I drive by you on the street. I'm just so done right now. So done. I was browsing through the aisles of the local grocery store when I saw her, Karen. She was standing in front of me in the checkout line, huffing and puffing as if she was the only one in a rush. I could see her fiddling with her purse, probably looking for her wallet, while the cashier patiently waited for her to sort things out. "Excuse me," I said gently, tapping her on the shoulder. "I think you need to sort out your card before you get to the front of the line." Karen turned around and her eyes bore into me like lasers. "What do you mean? I know what I'm doing? Thank you very much." "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you. It's just that I've seen people get stuck in line before and it can hold up the queue for everyone else. Karen scoffed and turned back around, her body language screaming her displeasure. I sighed and rolled my eyes, mentally preparing myself for a long wait. The line moved slowly, but Karen finally made it to the front. She handed her card over to the cashier, who swiped it and waited for it to process, and waited, and waited. "I'm sorry, ma'am," the cashier said finally, handing the card back to Karen. "It's been declined." "What do you mean declined?" Karen demanded, her voice rising. "There's plenty of money in there." "I'm sorry, ma'am, but it's saying it's declined." Karen started to get angry. "This is ridiculous. Try it again." "I can try it again, ma'am," the cashier said patiently. "But I don't think it will work." Karen shoved the cashier out of the way and grabbed her card back. "I'll do it myself," storming towards the self-checkout machines. I shook my head in disbelief as I paid for my own items and left the store. People like Karen never ceased to amaze me. As I walked toward my car, I saw Karen again. She was still at the self-checkout machines, her card still not working. She was yelling and swearing at the machine, attracting the attention of other customers. "Excuse me, is everything okay?" "Mind your own business," Karen snapped, turning to face me, "and stay out of my way." "I'm just trying to help," I said, holding my hands up in a placating gesture. "Maybe there's something wrong with the machine. Have you tried using a different card or paying with cash?" Karen glared at me, her eyes narrowing. "Who do you think you are telling me what to do? I don't need your help. Now leave me alone." I took a step back, not wanting to provoke her any further, but Karen wasn't done yet. She shoved me hard, causing me to stumble backwards. "Get out of my way, you stupid little twerp." That was it. I'd had enough. I wasn't going to stand there and let her treat me like that. "Excuse me, miss," I said, speaking in a calm, even tone. "You can't just shove people like that. I'm going to have to ask you to calm down and leave the store." Karen was incensed. She started to yell and scream, attracting the attention of the other customers. She even tried to hit me, but I was able to dodge her blows. That was when the security guard arrived. "Is there a problem here?" he asked, looking between Karen and me. Karen immediately switched gears, adopting a pitiful tone. "Oh, thank goodness you're here," she said, clutching her purse. "This man has been harassing me and trying to steal my money." I rolled my eyes.
"That's not true," I said firmly. "She's the one who shoved me. I was just trying to help her with her card."
The security guard nodded, looking between us. "I'm going to have to ask you to leave, ma'am," he said, turning to Karen. "And, sir, I'll need to see your ID." I complied, pulling out my wallet and handing over my driver's license. Karen was still protesting, but the security guard wasn't having it. He escorted her out of the store, muttering something about entitled people under his breath. As for me, I was just glad that the whole thing was over. I got back into my car and drove home. Enjoying the stories yet? If you do, please subscribe, like, and comment. My mother has finally pushed me too far. I, 34F, cut contact with her back in 2021. She's always favored my son, and he became her golden child, so she started trying to use the school to see him without mine or his father's permission after I cut her out of our lives. We quickly put a stop to it by speaking with the school, and my son's father sent her a lengthy text telling her to never manipulate the school system to get to our son again, or we'd be taking legal action, and he let her know that we'd spoken to the school about this, and they were very aware of our feelings. She was mostly quiet for a while after that, but I caught her following me once, and I evaded her. She even traveled to another state where my son's father's family vacations almost every year during Christmas. Luckily, my son happened to not be there that year. Well, recently she started secretly volunteering at my son's 10M elementary school. She lives over an hour away and didn't tell the school she had any familial connections there since she knows we had spoken to the school about her antics a while back. We assumed she lied about her address to get approved since she lives so far away. Anyway, she somehow snuck out of the classroom she was volunteering in and asked another child to get my son out of the cafeteria and spent 15 minutes crying to him, telling him how unfair I've been and that she'd never done anything wrong. That she has years of presents for him and he needs to come over to her house so he can have them. Worst of all, she told him not to tell anyone that she spoke with him or that he saw her. I felt like my mom was slowly calculating a way to eventually take him from the school. My son's father and I aren't together, but we immediately banded together and spoke to the school vice principal the next day and decided to file an injunction. The temporary injunction was approved within an hour of filing. I was immediately in tears. I was so relieved. Our hearing is coming up, and the closer it gets, the more I find myself questioning what I'm doing. I know I'm doing the right thing, but this situation just sucks. No one should have to protect themselves or their children from their own parent-grandparent. It's such an awful feeling. I wish she would have just respected our boundaries, but she's clearly incapable of that. I tried so hard to make her understand my boundaries before I cut contact with her. Her entitlement to my son was disgusting. She demanded seeing him, talking to him, and got very nasty and angry with me if I didn't oblige or if I had other plans and couldn't fit her in. She would constantly slip and call him her son. I guess I'm triggered and back in childhood me feeling helpless and scared. I feel bad that I've had to go this far. I feel terrible that she's been served. I know I shouldn't feel bad because she's probably more embarrassed and worried about how this makes her look more than anything. It's probably a long shot, but have any of y'all experienced anything like this? I've never been to court. Even when my son's father and I divorced, we were able to settle on our own. I have no idea what to expect, and I'm scared. I don't want to see her. I don't want to hear her lie in court or cry and manipulate, but I know it's coming. This situation is heartbreaking. Edit. I'm trying my best to respond to each one of you, but I just have to say thank you all so much for sharing your stories, for guiding me, for giving me pointers, for helping me prepare, for keeping me grounded and rooting for us. I didn't expect to receive so much amazing advice, and I'm crying tears of pure gratitude for each and every one of you. Now, might be strangers, but I love each of you from the bottom of my heart. Just know that you all have played a major role in possibly saving my son's life. Maybe even my own. Once I have an update, I will edit this post again and let you guys know how it went as quickly as I can. Edit. Well, guys, it's not over yet. The clerk of court had me fill out the wrong type of injunction. What's most frustrating is that I had the correct form filled out to begin with, but they told me it was incorrect and might get denied if I didn't fill out the right one. So, of course, her attorney caught that, so the case isn't over yet. The good news is the temporary injunction is still in place. And the judge was so responsive to me. I wound up in a room with just her attorney right before our hearing, and of course he tried to get me to settle, letting me know ahead of time that I filled out the wrong form, so it wasn't going to hold up. I refused and told him I'll let the judge tell me that, and I wanted to proceed with the hearing. Her attorney tried to object to me 4 separate times, and only one of them was sustained. 3 of his objections were while I was trying to explain what my son had told me, and the judge got frustrated with him for trying to call hearsay on what a child told me. Obviously, a 10-year-old will not be called into court to testify. It was really hard going in there not knowing what to expect and going up against an attorney by myself, but the judge really listened to me and crossed his arms, staring down at my mom in pure disapproval several times as I was testifying. The judge told my mom that she has no rights and to stay away from my son and to stay away from the school, and she was served again at the end of our hearing. I essentially have to amend my paperwork, and my mom will be served for a 3rd time, and I'll get a read-up. Now that I know what to expect, I feel so much more confident going in for a 2nd time. I'll keep you guys posted. I kind of wish we could include photos because this is about some text messages my mom sent my husband. I'll do my best to paraphrase the conversation and provide context. I have biliary disease, and my mom keeps going on about me eating better, doing liver flushes and stuff that isn't helpful and could even be harmful. I had to go on a liquid and soft foods diet last year. I'm still mostly on it, though I have been able to add on a few things and still have to go slowly and carefully. Most of my protein comes from High Protein Boost, a nutrition replacement drink, per my doctor. She keeps trying to get me to drink turmeric tea, which says on the package do not consume if you have liver, gallbladder, or biliary problems. We're pretty sure she snuck me some when she was helping me recover from surgery a couple months ago, because I had some issues one day in particular after she brought me a tea that didn't taste right. I was still really drugged up, so at the time I didn't think about it and only later realized she had left the tea for me to drink. I put the pieces together and realized what she had done. When I sent her a photo of the warning label, she said she was glad I saw that before trying it, Before that instance, she had ordered some various supplements, including turmeric curcumin, for me and had them shipped directly to the house. She texted my husband and was encouraging him to give them to me. He helps me with my medications when I'm too sick to get out of bed, and I trust him wholeheartedly to keep me safe. Obviously, he hasn't done that. He said if she wants to waste her money, that's on her. Despite knowing about the warning label on the tea, U.S. repeatedly telling her I can't take it, she is still sending my husband articles about the benefits of turmeric curcumin. This is where the text conversation started between them yesterday. She sent him a journal article about the benefits of curcumin. The article was from 2013. He responded with a more recent 2021 article explaining how patients with liver issues are negatively affected by turmeric curcumin. Fun fact about my husband, he is extremely patient and doesn't fly off the handle. We also live in her house that we pay the mortgage and HOA on. She lives with her new husband 2 hours away. The mortgage and HOA combined is half of what we could rent a tiny dump for locally. We are actively saving for a house, but the market here has been terrible. After that, she went off on her second favorite topic, the COVID vaccine. We had the original bivalent shots as soon as we were eligible to get them and have had annual boosters since. We don't get them as often as she seems to think, though. We get it at the same time as our annual flu vaccine. She asked him if we've gotten any more shots since our last one in October. No, because that's not how they work. But we do plan on getting our next booster in the fall. After that, she sent him her diet that helps numbers. I don't know what number she's referring to, but my liver function tests are scary bad. Like, I've had 6 procedures in the last year to try to figure out why. Her diet recommendations aren't bad. It's a good basic healthy diet, lean meat, lots of vegetables and fruits, oatmeal, Greek yogurt, that type of stuff. But they're essentially what I'm already eating, except I'm still not able to eat a lot, but meat specifically is difficult. I supplement with high protein boost, which she thinks is harmful since it's not natural. Also, I'm allergic to oats, have to keep reminding her. I love oatmeal and wish I could eat it, but it triggers joint inflammation and skin issues. Then she sent another long text which really hurt. Sometimes there is too much info out there that contradicts each other. Nothing natural is harmful unless it has added chemicals. God didn't make junk. But don't worry. I'm done. All it seems to do is upset me. She has to get sick and tired of being sick and tired of this like you and I did. And please, you don't have to tell her I've said anything. And yes, those are her emojis. 3 things about that specific text. First, she says she's done a lot, but will continually bring up unnecessary, unhelpful stuff, even when I ask her to stop. Second, she doesn't think I'm sick and tired enough. I've had a year's worth of poor health on top of having 18 years of these cycles with my liver. They've only gotten worse over time. And I've tried everything, including dieting, which did help, but obviously not enough because I'm sick again. I've been dismissed enough by doctors in the past, and I've finally gotten into a good team at a good hospital who have all assured me it's not in my head and I'm really sick. I feel like she wants me to suffer. I honestly can't imagine getting sicker. It's already disrupting my life, and I've been lucky it's not any worse. I don't want it to be. I want to get better. She always told me growing up I was a hypochondriac whenever I would complain about stuff like frequent headaches. When I reminded her of that a few months ago, she gasped and said she'd never say anything like that. I remember specific instances, and was way more than once or twice. Third, she always tells him not to say anything to me, which is hilarious. He's my husband and best friend. Then whenever she goes on these rants with him, she'll kind of disappear and won't talk to either of us for a week or more, which is honestly fine. I need the breaks. Which makes us feel like she knows he tells me. I've never indicated that I knew about the conversations or asked her to stop doing that with him because I want her to feel like she can trust him. He would rather be the target because doesn't want her ranting to me because he doesn't want me stressed. My husband basically repeated the same things we have told her already, including that this is probably hereditary and something we're going to have to deal with long term. For context, my dad's mom's side of the family has a history of gallbladder disease and liver cancer. I haven't had contact with him or any of his relatives in over 10 years. I cut them off for my own emotional and mental health. The last 2 texts she sent him circled back to the COVID vaccine, how it's not natural. She even told him that I always had problems with shots growing up, which is a flat-out lie. I was on state health insurance growing up, and she always got our vaccines on time. She thinks getting the virus will protect you. Luckily, I already had the vaccine before I caught COVID, and I'm glad I did because I can't imagine how bad it would be if I had raw dogged it. She also stated that my dad's mom died of the vaccine. No one on my dad's side of the family reached out to tell me my grandma had died or invited me to the funeral. She, my mom, told me in a text message that was the entire conversation. My grandma had liver cancer and a liver transplant 10 years prior to her death. I do know she had chronic pancreatitis as a result of the cancer treatment. So I have no context as to what she means about the vaccine since I wasn't around or involved with that family. My grandma died 4 years ago, and this is the first time she's ever brought that up. After the last text, my husband just ignored her. She came back hours later and apologized, which she always does and always thinks it makes everything better and we should just all forget and move on. Hey there, folks. So, let me take you back to a not-so-ordinary day in my life sparked by a routine grocery run that turned into a wild ride. Picture this. It's a sunny Saturday afternoon, and I'm on a mission to grab some pizza ingredients and a few other essentials from my nearby market after a long day at work. Little did I know this trip was about to turn into a tale worth sharing. As I strolled through the aisles, mentally checking off my list, I couldn't help but notice the bustling atmosphere. It seemed like everyone in the neighborhood had decided to do their shopping at the exact same time. Long lines snaked around the checkouts and impatient sighs filled the air. But hey, I was determined to get in and out as swiftly as possible. Just when I thought I was making progress, I was stopped in my tracks by a young couple. They looked slightly flustered and, to my surprise, asked me if I could help them find the coconut water. Now, let me clarify something here. I don't work at the market. But apparently my choice of attire that day, a button-up shirt and black khakis, had them convinced otherwise. Without missing a beat, I played along. Sure thing, I said with a smile, leading them to the coconut water aisle. I admit, I do enjoy a refreshing sip of coconut water now and then, so I knew exactly where to find it. The couple thanked me profusely, apologizing for mistaking me for a manager. No problem at all, I reassured them, happy to lend a hand. With that mini adventure behind me, I continued my shopping journey, grabbing the ingredient I needed and patiently waiting in line to check out. It was during this wait that I reflected on the amusing encounter with the couple. Who had thought a simple wardrobe choice would lead to such a funny mix-up? As I finally made my way out of the market, bags in hand, I couldn't help but chuckle at the randomness of it all. No irate customers demanding to speak to the manager, no over-the-top drama, just a comical case of mistaken identity that brightened my day. Little did I know the real twist in the story was yet to come. Fast forward a few days, and I found myself back at the market for another round of grocery shopping. This time, though, things took a dramatic turn. As I reached for a loaf of bread, I sensed a pair of eyes boring into the back of my head. Turning around, I was met with a glare that could freeze lava. It was Karen. Yes, the infamous Karen we've all heard about, the embodiment entitled customer demands and unwavering insistence on speaking to the manager. And guess what? She had mistaken me for the manager yet again. "Excuse me," she huffed, tapping her foot impatiently. "I've been waiting for assistance for ages. Where are your organic avocados? And why is the line at the deli so long?" Now, let me pause the story right there for a moment. If you've ever encountered a Karen in the wild, you know that navigating such situations requires a delicate balance of patience and tact. So, I took a deep breath and explained that I wasn't an employee but offered to help her locate the avocados. You'd think that would be the end of it, right? Wrong. Karen's frustration seemed to escalate with each passing second. She began ranting about the store's service, the quality of produce, and everything in between. I tried my best to defuse the situation, but Karen was on a mission to find fault and demand retribution. As I attempted to excuse myself from the escalating confrontation, Karen's volume increased, drawing the attention of other shoppers. That's when her kids, who'd been lingering nearby, decided to join in. They started hurling insults and accusations, adding a chaotic layer to an already tense situation. At this point, I realized that a simple misunderstanding had spiraled into something far more serious. With Karen and her kids showing no signs of backing down, I made the decision to step away and seek help from an actual store employee. Unfortunately, that didn't end the ordeal. Karen, fueled by righteous indignation, decided to take matters further. She lodged a complaint with the store management, alleging that I had been rude and unhelpful, a complete fabrication, of course. The aftermath of that encounter was unexpected and, frankly, absurd. Not only did I receive a stern talking from the store manager, who thankfully understood the mix-up, but Karen went a step further and filed a restraining order against me on behalf of her family. Yes, you read that right. A restraining order over a case of mistaken identity and a series of exaggerated grievances. So here I am, sharing this wild roller coaster of a story with you all. Who would have thought that a simple trip to the grocery store could turn into a saga worthy of a soap opera? But hey, such is life, full of unexpected twists and turns. As for Karen and her kids, well, I'll steer clear of that particular market for a while. Lesson learned. Never underestimate the power of a misplaced button-up shirt and black khakis in triggering a Karen meltdown. Stay tuned for more adventures from the not so ordinary life of yours truly. And remember, sometimes the best stories come from the most unexpected moments. Cheers. Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more captivating stories. Share your own experiences, opinions in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, stay tuned for more epic tales.